More of the same. Politicians acting like they know and understand history, the concept of liberty, or the role of government intended by the framers of the U.S. Constitution. Freedomcast. The war on terror has taken us back into Somalia. On Thursday, U.S. warplanes bombed a village in that country, allegedly killing some top Al-Qaeda brass in the process, not to mention 30 other people. Civilians are often killed, more often than the bad guys actually, in strikes such as this. In Somalia particularly, the U.S. government has been bombing various targets for at least the last year and a half. The U.S. government supports the current Somali government. Most Somalis do not. And round we go. Now, the war on terror is a non-interventionist nightmare. Whereas before the world was made up of various nation-states who rotated in and out of both ally and enemy slots, now the enemy is an ideology, a combination of groups, spread out over dozens, perhaps hundreds of countries, made up of thousands, tens of thousands of people. It means we drop bombs in Iraq, in Afghanistan, in Somalia. It means our troops are engaged across the globe, their boots on the ground, within the borders of over 100 sovereign nations. The ironic thing is that this is precisely what started everything in the first place. It was meddling, foreign meddling, and involvement through arms aid, military training, troop presence, political pressure, bribes, aka foreign aid, the backing of a dictator here, a tyrant there. In other words, the weaving of a complicated web that no policymaker could really understand, much less make predictions about. And now the unintended consequences of installing shahs and bombing buildings and stationing troops and supplying arms and propping up militarists and training guerrillas have led us to... what? Change the flawed foreign policy that led us here? Nope. On the contrary, it's business as usual in Washington. Maybe it's too late now, I don't know. Maybe it's too late to get out. We've made a world of a mess, possibly trying to be the good guys. Doesn't really matter. Now we're stuck. Still, no one's tried to change our foreign policy. We're still at it, backing this regime here, opposed to that regime there, funding these guys, fighting those guys, arming Group A, bombing Group B, financing Group C, etc. Of course, we'll be fighting Group A and financing Group B and arming Group C later, but whatever. Maybe we should break this down into mathematical terms. It's really quite simple. And the founders certainly understood this. Washington and Jefferson were quite vehement about it. So let's try to make this easy. Here we go. Foreign interventionism equals F. The making of enemies equals E. A steady buildup of hatred equals H. Tragic unintended consequences equals C. More foreign interventionism equals M. And the equations. F equals E plus H. E plus H equals C. C equals M plus E plus H. And M equals F. Thus, even in mathematical terms, the cycle of foreign interventionism and unintended consequences, or blowback, is evident. Yet, that is our government's foreign policy. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm glad an Al-Qaeda leader is no more. They're scumbags, all of them. But I'm not glad we're bombing Somalia, or that we're backing the Somali government politically and with quote-unquote aid. After all, bombing Somalia equals the making of many enemies, plus a steady buildup of hatred, equals tragic unintended consequences, equals more foreign interventionism, equals the making of many enemies, plus a steady buildup of hatred, equals tragic unintended consequences, equals more foreign interventionism, equals the making of many enemies, plus a steady buildup of hatred, equals tragic unintended consequences, equals more foreign interventionism, equals the making of many enemies, plus a steady buildup of hatred, equals tragic unintended consequences, equals more foreign interventionism, equals the making of many enemies, plus a steady buildup of hatred, equals tragic unintended consequences, equals more foreign interventionism, equals the making of many enemies, plus a steady buildup of hatred, equals tragic unintended